There have been a lot of conversations about who UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman should fight next, and even though his match against Leon Edwards has been confirmed, fans seem to want the pound-for-pound king to face Khamzat Chimaev or Conor McGregor. UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman thinks Khamzat Chimaev might have to face #1 contender Colby Covington before he gets a title shot.
I mean, this guy hasn't even fought in the top 10. He hasn't even beat anyone there. So, I mean, Covington is still standing in the way. So I think there's still a couple more fights that he has to get through. But like I said, I love to compete. I love to compete. You know, when that fight presents itself, I'll be here to compete.
But Khamzat seems to think differently. The Chechen told former champion Daniel Cormier that he could take the belt from Usman any day. He also mentioned a fight between him and middleweight champion Israel Adesanya.
Brother, Usman almost handicapped, brother. His knees doesn't work, his back hurts, his arm hurts, the operation everywhere, you know, like the guy is too old and he's too slow. Oh yeah, he's too slow. You know, it is they wanna like make money, how they talk, they wanna find a way and make money and go away from my way, you know. And Israel, I think he will fight me. I don't think the guy's scared. He's gonna fight. That guy gonna fight with me, and I will fight the guy as well. But this is not my level. The guy, if he gives his back to this guy who's never did wrestling in UFC, who never took somebody down, you know.
Khamzat Chimaev faced some real competition at UFC 273 for the first time. Boers went 15 minutes inside the octagon with Gilbert Burns, the #2 contender in the division. Chimaev managed to pull off the decision victory, and Usman gave him props.
I mean, this kid, you get a kid like this that comes in and has all this hype and everyone talking about him. This is great. It's great for the sport. It's great for guys like myself. It's very good, you know, and Khamzat coming in, he's definitely showed he's done a great job. You know, props to the kid. He's done a great job with what he's been presented in the opposition. I take nothing away from him. And I think it's the media's fault to where the media kind of builds you up and then they drop you the moment that you don't live up to that. And so I think him, you know, if I had a word of advice for him, it's just to not get caught up in that, because it kind of seemed like that is starting to happen. But don't get caught up in that, because, you know, not every day is your day. At one point, you know, someone's going to come in and it's going to be their day.
Before Chimaev faced Gilbert, he was an extremely heavy favorite, surpassing his opponent with more than 100 points in the odds. But many say Burns humbled Chimaev and made him look human, even though he lost. Leading up to UFC 273, many MMA fans believe Chimaev would run through the whole welterweight division, including Kamaru. But those beliefs seem to have changed after seeing Khamzat absorb many strikes. The next match for Boers will probably be Colby Covington. As for the UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman, he's looking to dominate Leon Edwards to retain his title, and maybe try to fight Conor McGregor too. McGregor has just won one of his last 4 fights, but he is still the UFC's biggest draw and one of the most exciting fighters and personalities in the sport. Usman recently hinted toward a fight with the Notorious. The champion mocked the Irishman, pretending not to remember his name and saying that he wasn't relevant anymore since he hasn't done anything for the sport in the past few years.
But right now, you know, we've kind of got Leon Edwards sitting there.
Yeah.
You got the other loudmouth little kid. What's it? The Irish kid, you know, the Irish guy. You know, you got the Irish guy on the side running his mouth.
Oh, the Conor McGregor Irish guy?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that guy. You forget. I mean, you forget.
I was thinking, I'm like, who is the other Irish guy as the welterweight?
Exactly. See, that's
Conor
what I'm saying.
McGregor.
You forget, but this is why you forget. You forget because this guy is not relevant. He hasn't done anything in the sport as of late. So in order for him to be relevant, he has to try to attach his name to someone who is relevant.
McGregor has spent the bulk of his career competing at 145 and 155 pounds, but the former UFC 2 division champion is expected to return to the octagon at welterweight. McGregor resumed sparring again last week and is expected to make a comeback by summer, possibly during International Fight Week in July. Who do you think Usman should face next, Chimaev or McGregor? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Chael Sonnen gives advice to Sterling. Chael Sonnen recently warned Aljamain Sterling to be careful with scoring the rounds in his head while he fights. Aljo revealed that he was sure he had 2 10-8 rounds, and for that reason, he gave rounds 4 and 5 away. Although many don't believe this was a strategy, Sonnen thinks it's very risky and reminded the new bantamweight champion that using points as leverage in a fight is a very slippery slope. Although it worked out in the end for Sterling, the former UFC middleweight said Funkmaster should learn from his experience and never try to assume how the judges score rounds. Aside from the warning, Sonnen stated that he actually agreed with the outcome of the fight. In a recent episode of his YouTube show, Sonnen said,
"Against yourself, it ended up working out just fine. But Aljo spoke on why he was so sure he was ahead. And as a matter of fact, he not only believed he was ahead those 3 rounds going into 4 and 5, he thought he had 2 10-8 rounds. Now that's an extreme. Like, Aljo needs to learn something from this. Do not do that kind of math again. Because Aljo was wrong. That is not what the judges saw. One judge didn't even see the first 3 rounds for, I mean, this was a slippery slope. Very slippery. But set that aside, I've been stunned that people are pushing back and don't think he won the fight. That's just not what I saw. I saw it exactly the way Aljo did. I didn't see the 10-8 business. The control was there for a 10-8, but not the damage.
Aljamain is the UFC bantamweight champion today. He defeated his bitter rival, Petr Yan, but he didn't get the respect from the community. Judges Sal D'Amato and Alicio Rodriguez both scored the bout 48-47 in favor of Sterling, while Christopher Lee gave the nod to Yan 48-47. However, even though he got the W, Aljamain Sterling still seems to think the judges were delusional with the scoring of the rounds.
I want a clear-cut decision, and somehow, some way, people are grasping at straws to try to say that this man beat me. It's fascinating. I got robbed from 2 10-8s. At worst, one 10-8 round, and the only thing that could, even if someone was crazy enough to try to score that round for Jan in the first, at best the fight's a draw for him. You know, that's his best hope. Like, the guy did not win the fight. Like,
what did you think about this fight? How did you score the first 2 rounds? Were they 10-8? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Jake Paul calls out Michael Bisping. Jake Paul is now putting his energy into pursuing another boxing match with a retired UFC fighter. This time, Paul went for Michael Bisping. The two have been going back and forth on social media, but Jake was the one to offer him a fight while mocking him on Twitter.
So I get why he's mad at the new kid on the block, whatever, talking all this shit. And, you know, when he looks at his bank account, guys, you may not know this, but he only sees half of it. So he really thinks he made half of that amount of money since he only has one eye.
I fucking couldn't see.
But the eye joke's not funny. I truly don't think it's funny. I think it's mean, and I am sorry. Now, Michael, I am not just the type of person to talk shit without backing it up. So if you can get licensed with your one eye and old ass and all that crazy shit you got going on, I would love to fight you. Let's see if that championship that you won and all the respect you have from the fight community can really get you through a boxing match with me. Because I bet it can't. I will whoop your old ass.
Bisping claimed that it was, in fact, Paul's team that had reached out to his manager last year. Their trash talk was reignited when Bisping responded, "Send location," after noticing that he was part of Paul's hit list. Who do you think would win in a boxing match between these two? Drop your prediction in the comment section. Thanks for watching.